right. Dietrich was removed from Wednesday's game after he was hit on the right knee by a Darvish cutter. He started in left field on Wednesday. He initially played in the game, but was removed for Phillip Ervin. He's optimistic he'll be okay. Garrett took the next step in his rehab progression by throwing live batting practice prior to Wednesday's loss. He was placed on the 10-day IL with a left lat strain. A lot of pitchers have lat strains this year. July 4, after pitching to a 3-1 record and a 1.70 ERA in 42 games this year. He has a scheduled day off Thursday. Then team doctors will decide whether to bring him straight to Cincinnati or send him on a rehab assignment. What I'm getting at is it sounds like Garrett is just a few days away from returning to the Reds. A lot of discussion on this show. Could he be the closer in Cincinnati for the rest of the year if they trade Iglesias in the next 13 days? And I think they will. I think Garrett is poised to be the closer there for the rest of the season after August 1st, and Iglesias will be moved. And that's a name we haven't even mentioned this morning. Dodgers, Red Sox, Yankees, Houston. Never know. Atlanta. Cam says the Sox are 6-13 in sales starts, and that should be flipped. If that was 13-6, the Sox would be right there with New York. So true. And he had such a poor start. Workman has more wins than Sale. Sale. Let's take a look at Sale. Okay, since Sale now has become our subject. Sure, I mean he's worthy of discussion because he is critical. I think critical the pitching. They got the hitting. If Sale and Eovaldi can click in those roles, I mean Sale's 3-9. Okay, I mean leave his strikeout numbers out. Let me give you his numbers: 3-9 record and a 4.27 ERA. That's a lot of pitchers. I mean, a lot of pitchers could do that. Now, the difference is he only has a 1.10 whip. Usually ERAs of 4.27 have a much higher whip. And, don't forget, 160 strikeouts. And he pitches today at home against the Blue Jays. And that sounds like strikeouts getting ready to happen to me. His last 6 games, strikeout numbers, 10-10, 8-10, 5-7. Earned runs, his last 3, 5, 5, and 5. And the most innings he's pitched in his last 3 are 6. Against the White Sox on June 26, 6 innings, 5 earned, 10 strikeouts. July 3rd at Toronto, 5 2/3, 5 earned, 5 strikeouts. And on July 13th against the Dodgers at home, that was Sunday night, he was horrible. 4 2/3, 7 hits, 5 earned, and 7 strikeouts. The Red Sox schedule, they play the Orioles a lot in the second half. The Yankees did that earlier. Landers, I like that. What if Tampa never lost Glasnow? Glasnow was the top pitcher in the American League when he goes out with the injury, and now he's out for the year. Tampa regrouping as they go, right? And look for that doubleheader today. Look for Nate Lowe to go off against Yankee pitching. There's your little nugget for today. David Dahl left Wednesday's game against the Giants with a left foot contusion after fouling a ball off his foot. The glass house has broken. He's day-to-day. Hampson came in the third. Polanco's been shut down again for Pittsburgh due to recurrent soreness in his left shoulder. I think they'll shut him down for the year. He just has not been himself. He doesn't have the power. When he does play, he gets days off. He's just, that shoulder's giving him trouble. And remember, Michael Brantley had that same shoulder type surgery, and it took Brantley a couple of years. Pittsburgh, they're not going anywhere. If they trade Vasquez, they're going to shut Polanco down. So take a look at that. So that's just a look at some of the injuries going on in Major League Baseball, and try to mix the injuries in with opportunities. There's a lot of those. So we'll see how it shakes out. Let's talk about some games for today. I told you the Rays and Yankees. Chirinos at 3 o'clock against Herman. Morton in Game 2. The Yankees have yet to announce. I think it's going to be Chad Green. They're going to go to the bullpen game in Game 2. The Dodgers and Phillies play at 12:35 today. Stripling against Nola. Padres and Marlins at 12:10 today. Lamet going for his first win of the year, his second start against Caleb Smith, fresh off the IL. That's at Marlins Park in Miami. The Blue Jays, Pannone, the lefty for Toronto, against Chris Sale in Fenway Park today at 1:05. The White Sox give the ball to Detweiler. He will go against Keller today in Kansas City at 1:15. The Cardinals are at the Reds tonight. Those are the afternoon games. So this afternoon we've got 5 games on the slate. Tonight, in addition to the Yankee game, we've got the Cardinals at the Reds. Dakota Hudson will be pitching in Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati against Tanner Roark. At Progressive Field in Cleveland, Matt Boyd and the Tigers take on Trevor Bauer. Yeah, let's have some kudos for Trevor Bauer. Andrea, if you're out there, let's look at the chat room. Who we got in the chat room? We got a lot of people in the chat room. Jess, Joanna, Jeff, Andrea, Lou, Beach Bomb, Corona Cyclosis, Cam, DeMazins, DK Lush, Dave, DeCabizzle, Easy Kill, Lou Landers, Phil Chappie, That Guy, Timothy Hooker, Unholy, and Zelmo. It's always good to see you guys in the chat room. Thanks for being with us this morning. The Nationals are in SunTrust Park in Atlanta. Steven Strasburg going against Tehran. That's a huge game for the Nats, trying to make ground on the Braves in the East. And they're expecting their ace, yes, back this weekend for Washington. Mad Max is expected to pitch this weekend for the Nationals on Sunday. The Athletics and Mike Fiers are at Target Field in Minnesota taking on the Twins and Kyle Gibson. The Astros and Wade Miley are at Angel Stadium in Anaheim tonight at 9:07 taking on Matt Harvey with his 6.88 ERA and the Angels. Look for the Astros to score a bunch more runs. They scored 11 last night. Look for them to score a bunch more tonight. And I was talking about runs scored earlier, and I left out the bombing of the day. So let's just go to that real quick. The Diamondbacks and the Rangers last night. The Diamondbacks hit 5 home runs. Okay, I'm getting to that game because now they're playing the Brewers. That's the next game on the list. The Brewers are at Chase Field in Phoenix. Kyle Davies, 7-2 with a 2.89 ERA against Kelly. That game's at 9:40. But last night the Diamondbacks played Texas. They scored 7 in the first, 5 in the second, and 2 in the third. So after 3 innings last night, the Arizona Diamondbacks had scored 14 of their 19 runs. They hit 15 homers. Look at this box score. This is just a buffet of hitting. Dyson went 3 for 5. Vargas took his place and went 2 for 2. That's right. 7 at-bats out of the leadoff spot. Marte went 1 for 2. He was replaced by LaCastro, who went 1 for 4. Escobar, 2 homers. He went 2 for 7 with 5 RBIs. Christian Walker went 2 for 3. Adam Jones, 4 for 6. Lamb went 2 for 4. Whoa. And no homers, just 2 for 4. Ahmed, 1 for 3. Kevin Cron went 1 for 5 with 4 RBIs. That was a homer for him. And Carson Kelly, 2 for 5. Kelly hit his 11th homer. Let's see. Escobar now has 21 homers after yesterday. Cron now has 5. Dyson homered. He has 6. Kelly has 11. And for fantasy purposes, how many of you guys have added Gerard Dyson to your fantasy teams? He's a 35-year-old who leads off a lot for Arizona, steals a lot of bags. And, it's not every day that he plays, but when he plays, he's generally productive. Now, he's not going to be productive like yesterday, but he's hitting .254 on the year, 6 homers, 21 stolen bases. He started the last 2 games and went 4 for 9. Now, before that, he'd started 2 games and gone 0 for 9. So, streaky, but he's going to get opportunity. And they're playing the Brewers today at home against a right-hander. And in daily fantasy, I think he's a cheap buy. And I like it. I like him a lot in daily fantasy today. Other games tonight, there's only one more. The Mets are at Oracle Park in San Francisco. Here's a pitching matchup. Noah Syndergaard for the Giants. Noah Syndergaard for the Mets taking on the Giants, Madison Bumgarner. Now the question is, both of these guys have been discussed in trade discussions a lot lately. Does Syndergaard get moved in the next 13 days? Does Bumgarner get moved? And we can have that discussion for the next 13 days. What are the Giants going to do? You've got these teams on the precipice of being a playoff contender, or are they a playoff pretender? Contenders, pretenders. 13 days will tell the story. And teams have to make decisions. Texas, for example, I think they're going to be sellers. They're talking about trading Mike Minor. And a lot of teams could use another lefty. Now, Minor is not Bumgarner, but he's had a really solid year. Texas could probably demand a pretty good price for Minor if they were to trade him. His numbers, 8-4 on the year, 121 strikeouts, a 2.73 ERA pitching in Texas. Come on, that's awesome. And a 1.16 whip. Now, we know his last two starts have not been that effective. So it may behoove Texas, if they're going to trade him before he has a third bad start in a row. His last two starts, July 2nd, my birthday, against the Angels, he went 4 1/3, gave up 3 earned, struck out 4 and walked 4. And his last start on the 13th, against Houston at home, 5 innings, 4 earned runs, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts. Average numbers, but they're probably looking to trade him. And on the season, Minor has put together a really good repertoire. He has a good resume for this year. He was a high draft pick, then went through some injuries. Plenty of potential. It's never really been